Hey everyone, I'm trying more Jinteki decks that use the new Honor and Profit cards, and this is one of them. It's basically it's the Jinteki variant of my NBN program trashing base deck. So you splash lots of cards like Grim, Ichi, Power Shutdown, Archer, and yeah, you punish the runner for running recklessly without big sentry breakers. Then the reason why you import it into Jinteki as opposed to NBN is because with Jinteki you have lots of net damage sources. As long as the runner decides to run, he's going to take net damage from Neo Katana, Komainu, Yagura, Snares, and if he doesn't run, I'll score agendas, which will also inflict net damage. So either way, his breakers won't be safe. If it's in his hand, it is susceptible to net damage. If it's on the table, it will get trashed by all my program trashing devices. So his breakers are never ever safe. And once I'm able to create a scoring window by trashing his breakers, I can start scoring agendas for the win. So that's the concept behind my deck. Let's hop into the game, which has been going on for quite a few turns now. Basically what happened is he exposed the ice over R&D. Turns out it was an archer. Knowing that I have no agendas, he kept running R&D every single turn and fished out 2 fetal AIs. It's not the best agenda to fish out, but well, it's still 4 points. 4 points is more than halfway to victory, so I'm not very happy about it. Even though he took 6 net damage and had to pay 4 credits to steal them all. And what happened here was that he stole the fetal AI even though he ran with only 1 credit. So I allowed him to I forgot. Yes, here I should have punished him. I completely forgot. The first time he accessed it, he would take 2 net damage from the fetal AI. Then I allowed him to simulate taking 1 credit and running to steal the fetal AI again, but I forgot to zap him for more net damage, and I don't think he would have been able to steal the fetal AI otherwise. So, I definitely missed out that part. Yep, if you access fetal AI and you don't steal it, you still suffer 2 net damage. So, yeah, that's something I should have taken note of. Alright, but never mind. Back to the game. He's playing Gabe, so obviously he's able to run without worrying about having breakers out. He's just being very reckless here. And reckless is right because he scored 4 agenda points. I finally draw into a useful piece of ice, so I am able to install the Komainu on R&D to keep him off. And since he forged activation my archer, I have to res it. I'm not gonna trash my archer. It's a keystone to my deck. Even though it's no longer a surprise, it still keeps the runner at bay. And I spend my credits to install over HQ because I know that emergency shutdown is coming and I do not want my archer to be deres like that. So the additional protection was a must. Thankfully I draw into lots of money. My deck doesn't have that many money cards, just a subliminal and 3 hedge funds, 3 celebrity gifts. That is probably a problem, not having enough money to deal with everything. Inazuma goes on top of Komainu to punish him if he decides to run R&D. Now R&D is very secure. Even if he has a fairy, I can Inazuma into the archer and he won't be able to break it. So, yep, that's something to consider. Inazuma, like, just as with Charm, I believe, yes, Inazuma works on the next ice you encounter, not approach. So if you do not res any ice that are sandwiched in between, your Inazuma can apply to the archer, which is pretty powerful. He then continues exposing more cards for me, so he saw the Inazuma, so he knows that he needs to get a code gate breaker to break it. I draw into my 3rd Inazuma, and I decide to play this off as a trap. Hoping that he doesn't fall for it. Hoping that he takes it as a trap and doesn't run it, and sure enough he doesn't. So this is a very key turning point. I actually score the House of Knives. With a House of Knives scored, he has very little reason to run anymore. Yeah, he's just going to take so much net damage during runs now that it's just not worth it. So now I decide to play a trap. I know Ichi and Inazuma won't stop the runner, but I will make sure that he is forced to encounter the snare at the bottom of it. So I install into the server, and it really looks like a gender because it's a 2-layer server. And he very, very unwisely ran on his 4th click and lost both of his precious breakers as a criminal with no form of recursion. Yes, this is a huge mistake that sets him back so far back. Yep, that is why Fairy is so good. With just a single Fairy on the board, you can protect yourself against so much trouble. Finally, I'm able to play my celebrity gift because now there's a so-called scoring window. He has no breakers out and he's not that rich, so I'm able to show him my hand and not worry about him getting through. But he installs a beta, single beta, and runs through and fetches one of my agendas. The Philotic Entanglement. That hurt so much, I would totally have scored that next turn. Oh well. Now I can only hope to deter him by placing more ice on there. And he knows that it's his last hope. He told me that I managed to trash all his programs already. So now his only hope is to keep running archives until he finds an agenda through single beta. So I'm hoping he doesn't hit the medical breakthrough because that will push him to 7 points for the win. Now here I make a mistake. I should have inflicted damage with House of Knives on him. Otherwise he would spend clicks to return back to running, and yeah, that I do not want him to come to make another run. So I should have used a House of Knives token here, but I didn't, and yeah, that was a mistake. Thankfully he didn't access the agenda though, so I still have a chance. He draws up to 3 cards, and he runs again. Yeah. I definitely should have used a House of Knives. I would have prevented that run otherwise. Again, he didn't access my medical breakthrough, so that's fine. And yes, I typed in chat. I never thought I would do this, but I installed Caprice Nisei on archives because that is the only server that he cannot access, so I need to keep him out of it. The only way to do so is to install Caprice there and really deter him from running, because every time he fails a side game, he has to pay 2 net damage. 3 if I remember to use House of Knives. And it's a public service announcement to everyone that as far as Kingdom Beta and Caprice are concerned, you need to put Caprice on archives to block Sneak Beta. Placing on HQ does not block Sneak Beta. Conversely, it allows the runner to trash Caprice for free. As in, without having to play the side game, Gabe can trash Caprice located in HQ by using a Sneak Door run. So please remember, don't put a Caprice on HQ against anyone who you think might be running Sneak Door Beta. It's a waste. I finally joined into some end the run ice, an archer and a chimera. So that is go time for me. Time to score agendas. Yes, Jinteki is very lacking with end the run ice. So I need to grab a couple of them from neutral and other factions and use these to score. But now it's pretty secure between chimera and archer. Only a fairy plus inside job would stop me. So I'll start pumping out that medical breakthrough. And it seems like a Caprice has definitely diffused the threat over archives, so that's good. What is there? Yep, I managed to score the medical breakthrough, and I decided to install the Jackson, tempting him to run through the Ichi server. There's not much else to say about my deck. I basically just threw in every single source of net damage I could find. Well, most of it anyway. Minus the traps. The only trap I have is a snare, because there really isn't enough deck space for traps. I actually want to play a ice heavy Jinteki. Ice is the way to go really. I mean, you can play a horizontal game, but you'll just be punished by central attacks, which are now very, very dangerous with Plan Assault in the meta. So what you want to do, I mean, especially since I'm revolving my game around program trashing, what I want to do is to trash the programs and have lots of damaging ice, such that they are really deterred from running. This will give me opportunities to score agendas while keeping my own agendas safe in my centrals. So that's the concept of the deck. It is possible to play ice heavy Jinteki. It's not necessarily heavy ice in terms of big ice. The only big ice are really the program trashing sentries, which are all you need. I find that program trashing is very strong, especially against runners who are not prepared for it. Those who don't have means of tutoring sharpshooter or fairy and just run without these important sentry breakers. They will fall very hard, like this runner did. So what he did, he femmed my Himitsu Bako, ran into HQ and hit the snare. Game over. And he hit the clone retirement, he would have won. So yeah, it was a little dicey over there. But nonetheless, that was the game. I definitely think Jinteki program trashing has potential. My deck might not be the best, but I definitely see how it can work very well. The problem is that when you play Jinteki instead of NBN, you lose the ability to fast advance from hand, or fast advance from the Sensei, both of which are pretty important. This means that you actually need to draw enough ice to protect all your centrals plus a remote for scoring, and you don't have that many end-run ice. So you really, really need to leverage on the scoring windows as the core, or play mind games with the runner, install snares and House of Knives mixed into the remote. That's how I managed to win this game, to get the first half. By getting the first House of Knives going, I was able to really deter the runner from making Hail Mary runs. Yep, that's all I have. Thanks for watching. See you around.